Yeah, they have risen this now to the level of domestic terrorism. What does that mean? Well, simply 24 random shootings over the last couple of weeks in 4 Michigan counties. 1 person injured, but several close calls. You're going to hear from some of those people for the first time tonight. And the reward money, as we've been saying, has now been increased commensurate with this to $102,000. That has generated thousands of tips. Now, we are live out here in Wixom, the police department. This is ground zero for the task force. The state police have moved in with this mobile command center. A lot of electronic gear inside we cannot show you, but you cannot miss the investigation that's going on with the new life here in the zone. Life on alert.
There was a gunshot that went through my car.
Life under fire.
Thankfully I didn't get hit by a bullet.
Life in the zone.
Once you hear the whiz as it goes by your head, you kind of think for a second.
Dozens of times a day, a driver stopped by police and given a thorough search.
We've got witness statements that more than one that put this particular vehicle driven by that particular person, that's enough probable cause to make a stop.
They consider it a felony stop. A single officer calls for backup, then moves in.
The first thing you have to do is protect yourselves as officers, and then you also have to think about the entire community that's around you.
Is this now domestic terrorism?
Yes, it is.
Look at the timeline. Tuesday, October 16th, the first 5 shootings happening in the early evening, all within 9 minutes. The targets are vehicles, but also a man taking out his trash. His only interview, other than investigators, with Cheryl Choden of 7 Action News.
The second shot went off, and that was enough for me. I went running back into the house and called 911 at that point.
The timeline continues the next day, a single shooting in the early evening, the same area. Then Thursday, the 18th, it goes crazy. 6 more shootings in Wixom, back to back to back at 2:14. Then at 2:40 in Livingston County on I-96 near Pinckney Road. At 6:30, another rapid series of shootings along M52 from Weberville up to Perry.
This wasn't a situation where some guys smoked some crack and went out and just started firing off a round at a car for laughs. This is continuing. He's repeating this act.
This past Saturday, 2 more shootings on I-96 in Fowlerville. A bullet goes through this door, through the driver's wallet, and into his hip. This is surveillance video of him limping into the Fowlerville gas station. Just minutes before that, an 18-year-old from Canton is driving this car through the same area when a bullet flies through both back windows.
It's hard to even put your mind around it.
Not many cars were on the freeway. No witnesses this time. A nanosecond from what could have been death.
2 cars going 70 miles an hour in opposite directions are coming at one another, and to see that this shot went right through the back windows, it's scary. It
would be my opinion that it's escalating and that he's challenging the public. He feels he's above the public. He feels he's above law enforcement. And with all the press and all the pressure, this guy continues to do this. And that's what's concerning.
The sketch that's now burned into our minds, drawn from one of the targets he missed. It's a younger white man with short hair driving a dark-colored older sedan, like a Chevy Cavalier. 9 of the bullets recovered match. Big gun?
Probably a handgun in the 9mm 38 357 family.
Something else the shooter has may help catch him. His ego.
Most criminals like to brag about what they do. They like to tell somebody what they've accomplished, and that's what we need. We need somebody to say, hey, it's time to come forward before we lose somebody.
And everybody on this case hopes that that $102,000 reward makes that happen so the zone and life out here can get back to normal. Back to you.
You know, Jim, I wonder, you mentioned 2,000 tips, I believe you said, have come in since that reward was up to the 102 grand. Are they sharing with you at all the kind of tips? Is it, I think I recognize this guy, or I know someone who drives a car and he kind of looks like that?
Even if it's that vague, they want to hear from you, because that could be the key. But as you just heard, as they sort of profile this guy, and they see this in a lot of these kinds of cases, maybe this guy will talk to somebody. Maybe he'll brag about it. He could do it at the bar. He could do it with a girlfriend, just even a friend. But if somebody mentions something like that, pick up the phone, make that call.
Absolutely.
7 Action News has confirmed this is the secure halfway house. You can see it's nondescript here on the east side of Detroit. This is where Monica Conyers will have room and board. She will have supervised release where she can check out, spend time with her family for the holidays, and get a job.
You will not make me push either of you, and you will not make me talk to you.
The last time we saw Monica Conyers was 2 years ago when the feds were closing in on her for taking bribes while on the Detroit City Council. Can you deny you've taken bribes? She would eventually plead guilty and then tried to withdraw her plea. Motion denied. But this could be her most famous move.
Control your house, and you know how to treat other women better.
You're the last one to talk.
I'm the first one to talk, dude. Shrek.
Shrek.
You're out of order. The first one to talk. Don't disrespect me.
Fellow City Councilman Shrek, a.k.a. Ken Cockrell, declined to comment today, as did most others we contacted.
Probably want to wait and hear what outrageous things she's going to say in her first public interview.
She's home just in time to be with her 2 sons and husband, Detroit Congressman John Conyers. In the past, she tried to tie her frequent headline-grabbing lifestyle to him, not her own behavior.
We've always been under scrutiny, but it's like you said, you either have to have a tough skin and deal with it, or you're not in the right game.
We found the congressman at their home today. Wanted to find out if anybody here wanted to comment on it.
Not yet, but if you give me a number, I may want to talk with you about it.
Excuse me, sir. I'm being harassed.
7 Action News followed Conyers to Hawaii when she was on a junket as a member of the Detroit City Employee Pension Board. Instead of attending workshops, she was shopping at high-end stores.
I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, Steve.
Not in the afternoon, unless you found somebody at Louis Vuitton.
Is Conyers out of the woods legally? The feds continue investigating deals tied to the City Pension Board.
And that's not going to go away. Not saying that she did anything wrong.
Conyers remains under federal supervision until next May 16th. In Detroit, Jim Kiertzner, 7 Action News. Judge, you heard this judge say several times, you know whether or not you're the father. How would you answer that, sir?
We really have no comment.
Archie Heyman, longtime judge in Genesee County, Flint. When he's holding court, he's always outspoken.
Your last name might be smart, but you're not acting smart. You are out of control because you just have no feeling in the heart. You have no heart.
And he has a reputation of scolding deadbeat dads when they're in his court.
Sometimes the dads show up. A lot of times they don't.
But is this judge ducking out on his own kids?
It's for the children, and he needs to step up to the plate. He holds others accountable who don't have fathers, who haven't stepped up to the plate, come forward and say, I am dad. I am proud that this is my son.
The case is centered here in Flint, but it's been moved to our backyard in Oakland County. The first thing Judge Heyman tried to do in his case was to keep the case sealed from public view. But Oakland County Judge Cheryl Matthews said no. You lost to have your case sealed. What's your reaction to that?
No comment.
Judge Matthews ordered DNA testing and suggested they settle to keep the dirty laundry to themselves.
I don't think this is the way you want to live out the next few months.
Denise Ketchmark, who is an attorney, is alleging they had a 19-year romantic and sexual relationship. 2 children were born. Judge Heyman even signed affidavits of parentage that are pieces of evidence in the lawsuit. And that Heyman added the kids onto his health insurance with Genesee County. And in the lawsuit, she adds this. The relationship of the plaintiff and the defendant was to be kept a secret from the legal community, his family, and the world, especially from the African-American women in Genesee County.
What it is, what problem he has as an African-American male having a romantic and sexual relationship with a Caucasian female. I mean, he needs to at least acknowledge all that to have closure.
Ketchmark points to even more evidence to back her claims. She showed us a greeting card signed, "Love You, Archie." A few sporadic checks from Judge Heyman for support for her kids, even secret intimate audio recordings, including when she gave Heyman a sexy nightie to take home.
Doesn't have quite the glow without your body, and I just want you to know.
Plus, get this tawdry evidence. Blankets she says she put on the floor in her house when they were together. She's filed this motion to also have them DNA tested. Is Ketchmark just a jilted lover bent on revenge? The judge got married on August the 25th to another woman. This lawsuit was filed a week before. Your timing of this, critics would say, is interesting, curious.
Impeccable.
Kiertzner claims on the judge's wedding day they exchanged these text messages where she writes to him, "I wish you were who I thought you were." He replies, "No time to explain now." And she writes, "The person I found out for you to be is not ever what I thought I would discover." He replies, "Don't lose those feelings." Not a jilted lover.
No, the end was
that he
coming.
Married another woman and you felt left behind.
No, he had done that already and still had sex with me. And he was having sex with me up till 8 days before he got married. I ended the relationship. He didn't end it because of the marriage. I ended it. He would have continued.
Is he above the law? The attorney is seeking support for both kids, but she now admits the older daughter may not be the judge's. Denise Kiertzner says the daughter was conceived through artificial insemination. The judge's attorney tells us the judge has given his sample for the DNA testing, but Kiertzner and the kids have not. Back to you. Stephen, there was a lot of emotion inside the rotunda. Take a live look at the Capitol behind me. They filled all 4 levels that are open to the public. They filled the rotunda as soon as the doors opened at 8 o'clock. Most of them spent the day there through the afternoon while the House was taking those 2 votes, and they got a boost from a nationally known public figure.
I want to thank Reverend Jesse Jackson because this is a social justice issue.
The group had the cause. The rotunda had the capacity crowd, 2,200 people, 4 levels strong. And in a flash, it had a cause celeb who knew how to bring home the message of all union workers' rights.
Yes, even the garbage worker has a right to own a home.
That's right.
The right to see his child graduate from college. The right to health care. That's what makes America great. We can go from log cabin to the White House. This land is our land.
Jackson's message was pointed, but he also ended with a chant to keep the peace.
We use our bodies, our minds, non-violent, discipline, direct action.
But also in the crowd in far fewer numbers are those on the other side, willing to tout why right to work is good for workers.
We think this is about creating a better future for all Michigan citizens and making it easier for our kids to stay home and stay in Michigan after they're done, so they don't have to go somewhere else to look for work.
That's the kind of debate that went on inside and outside. And while people were here by the thousands, state police officers were here by the hundreds. You saw them in action over at the Romney building where the governor's office is. They also surprised the big crowd here on the lawn at midday. We're going to show you how that played out coming up at 5:30. Stephen?